Hey, so today we are talking about the best lens for the Sony a6400, the Tsmron 28-75. If you've been using your camera for a while and you're wanting something more, this lens is the best lens for this camera. This is one of the best lenses for Sony cameras in general, but I can only speak from my own experience with the Sony a6400. So the only real competitor to this lens that has the same specs is going to be the Sony 24-70 G Master 2.8. That lens from Sony costs $2,000. I'm not gonna mistake you or anything. This is a pretty pricey lens. This lens is around $800. If you know one thing about Sony cameras, it's that their lenses are expensive. And that's when companies like Tsmron and Sigma come into play. If you want a telephoto lens that you can zoom, something that is a little bit more well-rounded, you're gonna gravitate towards the Tsmron side. If you're looking for prime lenses, then you're gonna gravitate towards the Sigma side of things. This lens is just a really good lens. There are a couple things that I should probably point out. If you're using it with the Sony a6400, it is an APS-C camera, so you're gonna have a crop factor, which means you're not truly getting a 28-75, you're getting like a 40 to 100 millimeter. And then because of the smaller sensor size, this lens isn't focusing all of the light onto the sensor. If this is your sensor and this is the amount of light that's getting to the sensor, you can see how you're losing some of that light. So you're not truly getting an f2.8, but that can be said with a majority of these lenses. I'm not truly getting an f3.5 with this lens, but that is part of the sacrifice that we take when getting APS-C cameras. There's not a whole bunch of really good lenses for APS-C. It's hard to take into consideration the limitations of APS-C lenses when there's just not that many. My only other lens was my 30 millimeter. So going from the 30 millimeter to this 28-75 is a huge difference. It's such a big difference. I enjoy this camera so much more now. Having the ability to change your focal length is huge, and the bokeh that you get from this lens is huge. The 2.8 makes such a big difference. This lens is beautiful. It might not be fully designed to work with the a6400, but the images, the video quality, what I'm able to get from this lens is next level. I don't have 5 other lenses that I can compare to this. I don't have the Sony G Master that I'm heavily comparing to this lens. There are other videos that you can be watching that'll give you those in-depth comparisons. I'm a beginner photographer. I'm a very intermediate videographer. I don't have a lot of money, and I thought that this lens would be a very good investment, and so far it has been. This is the only lens that I'm using. When I do photography, I'm more in the street photography realm of things, and having this lens being f2.8 makes a difference in those low light situations. If you are a budget photographer, budget videographer, this is the best lens that you can get for Sony cameras. If you are able to spend $2,000 on a lens, then you are just in a whole different league, and this lens is not for you. Ever since I got it, this has been the only lens that I have been using, and it's probably gonna remain that way. Can we just talk for a second? Tsmron is releasing the holy trinity of these lenses for Sony. That is gonna be a whole different video, and that is what I'm working towards, because there's like a 17-28, a 28-75, and then 75-200. Let me tell you, they're all f2.8, and they all use the same thread size, which means that you only have to buy one set of ND filters, and you can use them through all of them, from a 17 millimeter to a 200 millimeter. And that is gonna be game changing when I get my hands on those. But that's all that I have for you. Let me know how terrible this video looked, because I had to film it on my G7X because I wanted to hold this camera, because I felt like it would give. Could we just take a second to appreciate how a lens can transform your camera? This is what you get out of the box with Sony. If you pull up to a set, a job, whatever, this isn't gonna do anything for you. Suddenly you throw on a lens like this, now you're a professional, especially with the lens hood. With the hood, this looks so much different, and people are gonna take you so much more seriously because you have the hood. I just figured I'd throw that out there. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this lens. What lenses are you using? This is my new baby. I was very hesitant, but I actually really like this lens. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content and stuff. And yeah, that is all that I have for you. Thanks, or something. I don't know.